A very good morning, dear children. Today we will continue with the remaining part of chapter 5 Inside the Atom. In the last class we discussed about history of atom, and I hope you have read your text and you have understood that it is the efforts of many scientists who have spent their energy and their time to conduct experiments, perform experiments, and that is how we have got all the information about atoms today. So now today in this class we will be learning about atoms, molecules, elements and compounds. What is an atom? A very common question that is frequently asked. We know atom is nothing but it's the smallest particle present in matter. It is a particle which cannot be divided and it cannot be destroyed further. That is, it is indestructible and it is indivisible. These are the terms which we have already learnt in the last class. Okay, when atoms come together they form molecules, and molecules come together to form up matter, which is normally in solids, liquids and gaseous form. Okay, now how do you understand whenever any substance is being asked to you? How do you understand whether it's an atom or it is a molecule or it is an element or it is a compound? Okay, if I'm just giving you a symbol or a formula of some or the other substances which we commonly use in our day-to-day life, and I ask you to identify what it is it an element or compound or molecule or atom, there is going to be a question mark in your mind. So today we are going to learn how exactly can you distinguish between these and how do you understand what is what. Okay, now this is a table which is in your text on page 28. Okay, this is table 5.1, and with the help of this table we will learn the technique of distinguishing between atom, molecule, element and compound. Okay, so we are, first of all we just look at this table. The first column says name of substance. Okay, that is water, oxygen, helium, etc. And the second column is the formula. Now that's basically how you represent the substance. Like water is represented as H2O, oxygen is represented as O2, helium as He, and so on. Okay, so first is name of the substance, second is formula. The third and the fourth column is an atom, is a molecule. Now from the third and the fourth column you can select only one at a time. Either it's going to be an atom or it's going to be a molecule. You cannot take on both the columns together. Okay, same thing goes to the fifth and the sixth column. You can take any one single type of atom, different types of atoms, and the last two columns are for element and compound. Again the same thing, you can pick any one. All right, so without dealing, we'll just go to the first example, that is that of water. We'll look at it. So this is water. Water is represented as H2O. Okay, that's the formula of water. Now whenever you are asked to identify whether any substance is an atom or molecule or it is a compound or an element, always look at two things. First is you look at the number of capital letters, okay, and you check if there's any number surrounding in that formula, if you have any number in it. Okay, so here if you see there are two capital letters used, one is H and the other one is O, and you have a number 2 in it. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that this substance is made up of two atoms of hydrogen, that is why H2. Okay, and it is made up of one atom of oxygen, that is why capital O. Now there is no number written next to O, so it is understood it is 1. Okay, so that is how it gets the formula of H2O, meaning that water is a substance which consists of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. Okay, now let's go back to the table. So we are first discussing the first one, that is water. Okay, now when you go to solve the third and the fourth column, I want to understand whether it is an atom or it is a molecule. whenever you have more than one capital letter. I repeat, whenever you have more than one capital letter and you have a number in the formula, you should always understand it is a molecule. I repeat, whenever you have more than one capital letter. Here you have in H2O, you have two capital letters. So it is a molecule, and it also has a number, so it is a molecule. Okay, that is why we tick in the column of is a molecule. The next two column is you need to find out whether it's made up of single type of atom or different type of atom. So you will look specifically at the capital letters only. Is the formula having two different capital letters, or is it having only one type of capital letter? So here I have H also and I have O also. Both of them are different from one another. What does that mean? It means that water is made up of hydrogen also and oxygen also. That is why you tick under different type of atoms in the molecule. Okay. Now going to the next two column, you need to find out whether it's an element or a compound. Always understand the definitions of these. Element is any substance which has single type of atom in the molecule, and compound is anything which has different type of atom in the molecule. Here in the example of water, we have ticked in the column of different type of atoms in the molecule, so obviously it is going to be a compound, because compound is nothing but different type of atom in the molecule. I hope this is clear. Let's look at the next example. Oxygen, O2. Now here I have a number, that is 2. So it means that this is a substance that is made up of two atoms of oxygen. This is a substance that is made up of two atoms of oxygen. Now going back to the table. So here we are discussing oxygen. Alright. So we are going to look at the third and the fourth column. We need to find out, is it an atom or is it a molecule? Here, even though there is only one capital letter, there is a number in the formula. 2 is there, and that is why, because a number is there in the formula, this becomes a molecule. So we have ticked in the column of molecule. Okay. Now coming to the next two, single type of atom or different type of atom. Here we are going to look at capital letter. Is there any other capital letter other than O? No, it has only O as a capital letter. Because it has only O as a capital letter, it has only one capital letter, you say that it is single type of atoms in the molecule. So we have ticked under single type of atom. Now because you have ticked under single type of atom, it automatically becomes an element. Why? Because element is nothing but it is single type of atom in the molecule. I hope this is clear. Going to the next example. Helium. Helium has the formula of He. Now if you carefully look at this, it has two letters in it. But from those two letters, only one is capital. H is also there, E is also there, but E is a small letter. Only one H, only the first letter is a capital, and it has no number surrounding it. Okay, let's look at the table again. So here we are discussing helium. Alright, helium has no number. I repeat, helium formula He has no number, and it has only one capital letter. That is why it is an atom. Okay, so we tick under is an atom. Again, when you say, look at the next two columns, single type or different type. Here again, even though there are two letters, it has H also and it has E also, but from that only one is capital, only H is capital. That is why this is single type of atom, and because it is single type of atom, it becomes a element. Clear? Let's look at the next example. Hydrogen. Now here it has H2. 2 means This is a substance that is made up of two atoms of hydrogen. That is why H2. Okay, so here we are looking at hydrogen. Now here we need to solve for is an atom, is a molecule. What did I tell? If you want to find out, what you are going to look at, you're going to look at if there is a number and if there are more than one capital letters. There is a number, it is H2. So there is a number, so obviously this is going to be a molecule. Okay, now we need to solve a single type of atom and different type of atom. Okay, is there more than one capital letter? No, there is only one capital letter, that is hydrogen. It has only H in it, it has nothing else. So that is why this is going to be single type of atoms, and because it is single type of atom, this is going to be a element. Okay, let's look at the next one. Ammonia. Ammonia has NH3. So here, even though N has no number surrounding it, it is understood no number means 1. Okay, and H has 3. So it means that this is a substance that is made up of one atom of nitrogen and 3 atoms of hydrogen. That is how it gets its formula to be NH3. Okay, let's look at the table. So we are looking at ammonia. Okay, so we need to solve for is an atom or is a molecule. Obviously there is a number and there is more than one capital letter, so this is a molecule. Single type of atom or different type of atom, we have N also and we have H also. We have two different capital letters. So we know ammonia is a substance that is made up of nitrogen also and hydrogen also, N also, H also. So this becomes different type of atom in the molecule, and because this is different type of atom in the molecule, this is a compound. Okay, I hope this is clear. So in this table, this is how we are going to proceed to find out which substance is an atom, which is a molecule, which is single type, different type, which is an element, and which is a compound. Alright, so in this table I have explained 5 examples. You are going to be solving the next 5, that is nitrogen, methane, argon, neon and chlorine. In your textbooks you will be solving it. Okay, as a homework you will be doing it. Alright, now we'll go to the next one in the list, that is electronic configuration. You have seen this diagram before. Okay, now as per the Bohr's atomic model, he said that electrons are revolving in shells. Okay, and every shell has a definite energy. Now the shell which is very close to the nucleus is the first shell. The next shell is going to be the second shell, and so on. Okay, now there are certain symbols for the shells. The first shell is the K shell, second is the L shell, third is the M shell, and fourth is the N shell. So if you go to put it in the form of a table, this is going to be the table. Okay, now this is a table which is on page 32 of your textbooks. We look at the first and the second column. The first column is the symbol of the shell. We know it's K, L, M, N. Okay, what is N? N is nothing but the number of the shell. K is the first shell, that is it's the closest to the nucleus, so it's the first shell. That is why N is written as 1. Okay, L is the second shell from the nucleus, so we write it's going to be 2. M is the third shell from the nucleus, so we write 3. And N is the fourth shell from the nucleus, so we write it to be 4. Okay, so K is 1, L is 2, M is 3 and N is 4. Okay, now one thing you need to understand is that every shell can accommodate only specific number of electrons. The first shell can accommodate fewer number, and as you go away from the nucleus, as the shells increase in number, more and more electrons can be accommodated in the shell. Okay, now how do you understand how many electrons you're supposed to put? For that you use the formula 2n square, and that is the third column. Okay, now here what you need to do is you need to substitute the value of n in the bracket. Okay, so they have given you an example, that is, if you look at the K shell, which is the first shell, they have substituted the value of 1 because it is the first shell, the n is 1, and they have substituted that value in the formula. So 2 into n square means 2 into 1 square. Okay, 2 into 1 square is nothing but 2. So that is why the number of electron which you can put in the first shell, that is the K shell, is 2. Similarly, we try to solve for the others also. Let's look at the L shell. The L shell is the second shell, so n is going to be 2. Substituting it into 2 into n square, so that's going to be 2 into 2 square. Okay, 2 square means 4. So 2 into 4, that is 8. So 8 electrons can be accommodated in the second shell, that is the L shell. I hope this is clear. Similarly, we'll solve for the next one. M shell is the third shell from the nucleus, which means that n is equal to 3. We are going to substitute 3 in the bracket. So 2 into n square will be written as 2 into 3 square. 3 square is 9. So 9 twos are 18. So 18 electrons can be accommodated in the M shell or the third shell. Similarly, going to N. N is the fourth shell from the nucleus. Because it is the fourth shell, N is going to be 4. This 4 we are going to substitute in the 2n square formula. So 2 into n square, it will be written as 2 into 4 square. 4 square is 16. 16 twos are 32. So this is how you find out how many electrons can be accommodated into these different shells. This arrangement of electrons which we do in different shells, that arrangement is said to be electronic configuration. Let us look at the definition of electronic configuration. The shell-wise distribution of the electron in an atom of an element is called as electronic configuration of that element. How many electrons are you putting in the different shells is going to give you the electronic configuration of that element. Okay. Now I hope that whatever has been discussed today is clear. Okay. So what you will do is, after you watch the video, you will read your text carefully from page 27 to page 33. Now this is obviously going to include your history also, so you are going to read it once again. So from page 28 to page 33 you are going to be reading. Okay, so this is all for today. In the next class we will be finding out the electronic configuration by taking lots and lots of examples. Okay, that we will be solving in the next class. So it's very important that you read your text. I hope everything that we've done today is clear. Thank you.